So, in this part of the lecture, we'll see the proof for the asymptotic stability, wherein if v dot is negative definite, then x equal to 0 is asymptotically stable. Okay, so what we are given with is v dot of x is less than 0 for x not equal to 0 in the set D. This indicates that the function v that we have in hand is monotonically decreasing with time. Also, v is a positive definite function, so v is lower bounded by the value of v is lower bounded by 0. So v cannot be negative. Okay, so since v is monotonically decreasing and v is lower bounded by the value 0, then it means that there is a limit that exists. Okay, so there exists a non-negative real number c greater than equal to non-negative number c greater than equal to 0, such that limit t approaching infinity v of xt is equal to c. Okay, now uh, since v dot cannot be positive, now note that this v of v, as it evolves with x, it cannot have a oscillatory behavior, because if it has a oscillatory behavior, then at some point of time v has to increase, which means that v dot has to be positive. Okay, so there cannot be any oscillatory behavior in the evolution of v as the system evolves. Okay, so that is ruled out. Now suppose, and what we have said is limit t approaching v of x of t is equal to c, where c is a non-negative number. Now let us assume that c cannot be 0 and c will always be a positive number. So limit t approaching infinity, v of x of t is going to be equal to some positive number under the condition that v dot is a is negative definite. Okay, so let's see is the value. So with this, define a set omega c such that it consists of all those points in the epsilon ball for whom v of x is less than equal to c. And by the definition of by the continuity of v of by the continuity of the function v, we can say that I can find a finite positive real number, a finite positive number d, such that the d ball is a proper subset of the omega c set. Okay, so this bd being a proper subset of omega c set is essentially a proof similar to where we have shown that b delta would be a subset, proper subset of the omega beta set. So you can refer to that. So by the continuity of the function v, we can say that there exists a positive number d greater than 0 such that bd is a proper subset of omega c. bd is the d ball that we have. Now, since as t approaches infinity, v of x of t becomes equal to c, if we start a trajectory at a point outside the omega c set, it can never enter the omega c set in any finite time. Why? Because omega c set is defined as that v of x is all those points for which v of x is less than equal to c. Okay, so it cannot enter. The trajectory will be always outside the omega c set, which means the trajectory will always remain outside the bd set as well. Okay, so note this. This is the omega c set. Sorry, this is the b epsilon ball. Okay, this is the omega c set that we have. This is the origin, let's say, and this, let's say, is the bd ball. Okay, this is the B epsilon ball. So in the B epsilon ball, we have the omega C set, and inside the omega C set, we have the D ball. Okay, now consider all the points that you have in this annular region between the D ball and the epsilon ball. Okay, all these points in this region. Okay, so basically all those points which are in the epsilon ball but not in the D ball. For all those points, calculate the value of V dot. Where would V dot map to? So they will all map to some negative value. Why V dot is negative definite? Now, from all the values that you have got for all these points, you see what is the maximum value that you get. This maximum value is going to be a negative value. Let us denote it by a minus gamma, where gamma is greater than 0. Let us denote it by this. Now, one can argue whether a max of V dot will exist or not. I'm already saying that there is a max which is minus gamma, but why should it exist? One, because the set that we are taking is a compact set. We are considering all those points which are at least at a distance of d and at most at a distance of epsilon from the origin. So this is a compact set, so d and epsilon are included, and all the points that are there in this d and epsilon are essentially bounded because d and epsilon values are bounded. In addition to this, v dot is a continuous function. Why? Because we considered v to be continuously differentiable. Essentially, the derivative of v is going to be continuous. So v dot is a continuous function in this compact set, which essentially implies that v dot has to be bounded. Okay, otherwise v dot cannot be a continuous function. Or rather, I should put it like this: v dot is a continuous function in a compact set. Because of this, it indicates that v dot has to be bounded. So v dot is bounded, and because v dot is bounded, we can always find a max of v in the compact set that has been defined here, which is d less than equal to norm of x less than equal to epsilon. Okay, so there is a max value. So minus gamma, you can find minus gamma. Okay, now if we integrate v dot, what we get is the expression for v of x as shown. V of x will be v of x0 plus uh, 0 to t v dot xt minus x of tau d tau. Now, uh, this is going to be less than equal to v of x0 minus gamma t. Okay. Now, why is this? Because the max value that this v dot can take is minus gamma. So, accordingly, this is what we have. So, v of x is going to be less than equal to v of x0 minus gamma t. Now, notice that the right hand side of the inequality is essentially a straight line which will eventually become negative. Because of this, you can always find, so there will always exist a time tc such that v of xtc will be less than equal to v of x0 minus gamma tc, which will be less than equal to c. So there will exist a time tc when v will map a point to a value that is less than equal to c. And by the definition of omega c, this point has to lie inside the set, in the set omega c, not inside but at least in the set omega c, and tc is a finite time when this will happen. So if you start, so what is happening is, from this inequality it is saying that even if you start outside the set omega c, you will find a finite time after which v of x will become less than equal to c. which means you will enter the set omega c in finite time. You will enter the set omega c in finite time tc, right? But our assumption was what? That the limit of v was c, and that omega c is a set which has all those points for which v maps them to some value that is less than equal to c, indicating that if you start outside the set, you cannot go inside the set omega c. And this is saying otherwise, that you can actually go inside the set omega c in a finite time. So our assumption that c greater than 0 is contradicted. Now, because the limit will exist, so the only way this will hold true is when c is nothing but equal to 0. That is, limit t approaching infinity, v of x is equal to 0. If v of x approaches 0 as t approaches infinity, then it essentially indicates that the state vector x will also approach to 0 as t approaches infinity. And here 0, or otherwise that we have been calling it as origin, is the equilibrium point for the autonomous system under consideration, and hence this origin is a asymptotically stable equilibrium point. Okay. Now there are a few things to note. One is the function v that we have defined here, which is positive definite with v dot being negative semi-definite, is also known as Lyapunov function. Okay. So whether it is negative semi-definite or negative definite, so if something is negative definite, then it will also satisfy the property of negative semi-definite, because negative semi-definite just says that v dot of x is less than equal to 0. Definite just adds to the fact that it is only 0 at 0, otherwise it will not be 0, right? So v is said to be a Lyapunov function if v is positive definite and if it is at least negative semi, and if v dot is at least negative semi-definite. So v has to be continuously differentiable real valued positive definite function with v dot being at least negative semi-definite. Then we label the function v as the Lyapunov function. Okay. Now this proof of Lyapunov theory and the statement for Lyapunov theorem has been, I have taken this from the book by Hassan Khalil. The book is titled Nonlinear System. So I would request you to refer to that book for more details on the proof. In the upcoming lecture, the next lecture, we'll discuss a few examples that will try through which I'll try to make you understand as to how this Lyapunov theorem can be used to establish stability for autonomous systems. So we'll stop here. Thank you.